Don't touch me. Jungkook froze with his arms still half raised. The words struck harder than the sudden crack of thunder outside the studio windows. For one suspended second, nobody moved. Jimin stood only a few feet away, his chest rising and falling too quickly, one hand clenched around the sleeve of his black jacket. The warmth that had been in his face moments earlier was gone. His eyes, usually soft even when exhausted, were sharp with something Jungkook couldn't immediately understand. Fear. Anger. Or perhaps something worse. Jungkook slowly lowered his hands. Jimin. Don't. The single word came out quieter this time, but somehow it hurt more. Around them, the rehearsal room had fallen unnaturally silent. The music had stopped halfway through the chorus. A ceiling fan rotated above them with a faint mechanical rattle, pushing cold air across the room. Sweat, dust, and the faint scent of coffee lingered beneath the harsh studio lights. Jungkook stared at Jimin as though he had suddenly become a stranger. 5 minutes ago, Jimin had been laughing. 10 minutes ago, they had been arguing over choreography. An hour ago, Jimin had stolen Jungkook's water bottle without asking, taken 2 sips, and placed it back in exactly the same position as if nothing had happened. That was Jimin. He always did small things like that. He always tapped his fingers against his thigh whenever he was nervous. He always counted under his breath when learning difficult choreography. He always pretended he wasn't tired until Jungkook caught him yawning. And whenever Jungkook hugged him unexpectedly, Jimin usually complained for 3 seconds before quietly leaning into him. But now Jimin had recoiled as if Jungkook's hands were something dangerous. Jungkook swallowed. Did I do something? Jimin looked away. That was the answer Jungkook feared most. Not yes. Not no. Just silence. Jimin. I said don't touch me. I heard you. Then stop asking. Jungkook's jaw tightened. Something inside him wanted to react. He wanted to ask why. He wanted to demand an explanation. He wanted to tell Jimin that he had no right to look at him like that after everything they had been through together. But another part of him, the part that knew Jimin better than almost anyone, noticed the tremor in Jimin's fingers. Jimin wasn't simply angry. He was trying desperately not to fall apart. Jungkook took 1 step backward. Jimin's shoulders loosened by the smallest fraction. That tiny movement cut deeper than any accusation. All right, Jungkook whispered. He turned away. Behind him, Jimin closed his eyes. He wanted to call Jungkook back. He wanted to say his name. He wanted to explain that the rejection had never been about Jungkook's arms, Jungkook's warmth, or the familiar comfort of being held by him. It was about what happened whenever Jungkook touched him. It was about how quickly Jimin forgot how to protect himself. That was the part he couldn't confess. Because the truth was much more frightening than anger. Jimin was afraid of how much he needed Jungkook. And tonight, for the first time, he had realized that Jungkook might have noticed. The studio door opened. Everyone turned. A manager stepped inside, holding a phone against his ear. His expression was tense. Jungkook, Jimin, we need to leave. Jungkook glanced over his shoulder. Why? The manager hesitated. That hesitation changed the air. Someone leaked the rehearsal schedule. Jimin's face went pale. Jungkook immediately noticed. Who? We don't know yet. Then how serious is it? Serious enough that security is waiting downstairs. The room fell quiet again. Jimin looked at Jungkook. For a moment, their eyes met. And there it was. Something unspoken. Jungkook saw fear. Jimin saw recognition. Neither understood why the other looked as though they already knew what was coming. The vehicle door slammed shut. Jimin remained outside for another second beneath the rain. He watched Jungkook through the window. For the first time in years, he wondered whether he had finally pushed too hard. Then his phone vibrated again. Jimin looked down. A photograph appeared. His blood turned cold. It was a picture of Jungkook standing outside the studio. Taken less than 5 minutes ago. Underneath it was another sentence. You can keep pushing him away. But you can't protect him forever. Jimin stopped breathing. The van began moving. Inside, Jungkook sat across from him, staring silently through the window. Jimin quickly turned his phone face down. Who keeps texting you? Jimin's heart slammed against his ribs. No one. Jungkook looked at him. Jimin. No one. That's the third time your phone has gone off. Why are you watching my phone? Because you look terrified every time it rings. Jimin's fingers tightened around the device. I'm not terrified. You are. Stop pretending you know everything about me. Jungkook flinched. The sentence escaped before Jimin could stop it. Silence filled the vehicle. Jimin stared at the floor. Jungkook's voice came quietly. I never said I knew everything. Jimin closed his eyes. I know. Then why are you treating me like I'm your enemy? Jimin looked up. Jungkook's eyes were no longer angry. That was worse. They were wounded. And Jimin knew exactly how to survive anger. He didn't know how to survive disappointment. Because you keep trying to get close when I need space. Then tell me what's happening. I can handle it. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have. Jungkook leaned forward. Jimin immediately stiffened. Jungkook noticed. He stopped. His expression changed. Something clicked inside him. You really are afraid of me. Jimin's lips parted. No. Then why do you keep stepping away? Because. Jimin stopped. Because if I let you touch me, I might tell you everything. Because if you hold me, I might cry. Because if you ask me one more time whether I'm okay, I might finally admit that I haven't slept properly in weeks. Because someone has been watching us. Because someone knows things about you that they shouldn't know. Because I'm terrified that the next photograph won't be of you standing outside a studio. Because I'm terrified it will be of you bleeding. None of those words came out. Jimin turned toward the window. Just leave me alone tonight. Jungkook stared at the back of his head. All right. The answer was almost painfully calm. Jimin's eyes burned. He wanted Jungkook to argue. He wanted him to refuse. Instead, Jungkook leaned against the window and closed his eyes. For the rest of the drive, neither spoke. But Jimin noticed something. Jungkook had stopped looking at him. And somehow, that hurt more than everything else. The van arrived at the building shortly before midnight. Security escorted them inside. The hallway lights flickered once. Jimin stopped. Jungkook turned. What? Nothing. Jimin stared at the darkened corridor. For a fraction of a second, he thought he saw someone at the far end. A shadow. Tall. Motionless. Watching them. Then the light stabilized. There was nobody there. Jungkook walked past him. Jimin followed. But before entering the elevator, he looked back. The corridor remained empty. His phone vibrated. Jimin nearly dropped it. He checked the screen. A new photograph. This time it showed him. Standing in the hallway. Taken only seconds earlier. His stomach twisted. Then another message appeared. You keep looking behind you. Stop. Jimin's face drained of color. Jimin. He looked up. Jungkook was watching him from inside the elevator. The doors began closing. Jimin moved quickly. Wait. He slipped through just before the door shut. Jungkook stared at him. What happened? Nothing. You almost ran into the elevator. I'm tired. Jungkook sighed. Of course. Jimin looked at him. There was something bitter in those two words. Jungkook pressed the button. The elevator began descending. Then it stopped. The lights went out. Jimin gasped. Darkness swallowed them. A second later, emergency lights flickered on, bathing the elevator in dim red. Jungkook immediately reached toward him. Jimin recoiled. Don't touch me. Jungkook stopped. The elevator seemed to shrink around them. Jimin's breathing became ragged. Jimin. Don't. Look at me. I said don't touch me. I'm not touching you. Jimin pressed himself against the wall. His hands were trembling violently. Jungkook watched him. Then he realized something. Jimin wasn't afraid of Jungkook. He was afraid of what was happening around them. Jungkook slowly lowered his hands. Okay. Jimin squeezed his eyes shut. The red emergency light reflected against his wet eyelashes. Jungkook spoke carefully. Tell me what you're scared of. No. Jimin. No. Then tell me who is threatening you. Jimin's eyes opened. The blood drained from his face. Jungkook saw it. You thought I didn't notice. Jimin said nothing. You've been checking your phone every few minutes. You've barely slept. You jump whenever someone walks behind you. And tonight you look like you were going to be sick when the manager said the rehearsal schedule was leaked. Jungkook. Who is it? I don't know. Then what do they want? I don't know. Why are they threatening you? I said I don't know. Jimin's voice cracked. The sound echoed inside the elevator. Jungkook fell silent. Jimin covered his face. For several seconds, there was only the sound of his breathing. Then he whispered, I'm sorry. Jungkook's expression softened. You don't have to apologize. Ido. No. Yes. Jimin lowered his hands. His eyes were red. I shouldn't have yelled at you. Jungkook leaned against the opposite wall. You've yelled at me before. Not like that. No. Jimin looked down. I didn't mean it. Jungkook stared at him. Which part? Jimin froze. Jungkook's voice was gentle. The part where you said don't touch me. Jimin's throat tightened. Or the part where you told me to leave you alone. Jimin looked away. Both. Jungkook nodded. Okay. Okay. Yeah. You're not angry. I am. Jimin looked at him. Jungkook gave a humorless smile. But I'm more worried. That broke something inside Jimin. His eyes filled. He quickly turned away. Jungkook noticed but said nothing. He knew Jimin hated being watched when he cried. That was another thing he remembered. Jimin hated crying in front of people because he believed tears were an admission of weakness. So Jungkook looked toward the elevator doors instead. A few seconds passed. Then Jimin whispered, Someone has been sending me messages. Jungkook turned. Jimin's fingers tightened around his phone. For how long? 3 weeks. Jungkook's expression changed. 3 weeks. Jimin nodded. Why didn't you tell anyone? I thought it would stop. Did it? No. What did they say? Jimin hesitated. Jimin. They know where I go. Jungkook's face became still. They know my schedule. They know where I rehearse. They know when I leave. They know who I'm with. Jungkook's eyes narrowed. Who? Jimin looked directly at him. You. The word landed between them. Jungkook stopped breathing. They keep sending pictures of you. Pictures of me. Yes. Why? I don't know. Jimin, show me. No. Show me. I can handle it. Jungkook's patience snapped. No, you can't. Jimin recoiled. Jungkook immediately regretted the sharpness of his voice. He took a breath. Sorry. Jimin stared at him. Jungkook continued. But you can't keep carrying this alone. I don't want you involved. Too late. Jungkook. They already know about me. That's exactly why I'm telling you to stay away. The elevator suddenly jolted. Jimin lost his balance. Jungkook instinctively reached for him. Jimin flinched. But this time, he didn't shout. Jungkook's hand stopped inches from his arm. For one painful moment, neither moved. Jimin stared at the hand. Jungkook waited. Then Jimin whispered, It's not you. Jungkook's eyes lifted. What? My fear. Jungkook slowly lowered his hand. Jimin swallowed. I'm not afraid of you. Then what are you afraid of? Jimin looked at him. His voice broke. Losing you. Jungkook's expression changed completely. Jimin immediately looked away. He regretted saying it. But the truth had escaped. And now there was no way to force it back inside. The elevator lights flickered. Then came back. The doors opened. Neither of them stepped out. Jungkook stared at Jimin. Why would you lose me? Jimin's phone vibrated. They both looked down. A new message appeared. Jimin slowly picked up the phone. His fingers went numb. The message contained no photograph. Only a sentence. Because he already knows. Jimin's eyes lifted toward Jungkook. Jungkook saw the message. For the first time that night, Jimin watched fear appear in Jungkook's eyes. What does that mean? Jungkook asked. Jimin couldn't answer. A sound came from the hallway. Footsteps. Slow. Measured. Approaching. Jungkook turned toward the open elevator. Jimin grabbed his sleeve. Jungkook looked down at Jimin's hand. Jimin froze. He had touched him. He hadn't even realized. The fear on his face was gone for 1 second. Only desperation remained. Don't go. Jungkook looked at him. Those 2 words carried everything Jimin had refused to say. Jungkook gently covered Jimin's hand with his own. Jimin did not pull away. The footsteps stopped outside. Both men became completely still. A shadow appeared beneath the hallway light. Someone was standing just beyond the elevator doors. Jungkook's fingers tightened around Jimin's. Then a voice came from the darkness. Jimin. Jimin's blood ran cold. He knew that voice. He had heard it before. Not in a message. Not through a phone. In person. Long before the threats began. Jimin stared into the hallway. Jungkook whispered, "Who is that?" Jimin could barely breathe. The shadow moved closer. And Jimin finally understood why the anonymous messages had always sounded so certain. The person threatening him had never been watching from far away. They had been close enough to touch him all along.